Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hylian Gamescast episode 78. I am Chublima, and today we're going to be discussing some exciting news. This comes from, I'm looking off to the side because I have a terrible setup right now. My laptop is over here. This comes from Game Zone. Let me scroll.
The Game Zone.
Game Zone. Let me bring this over here. I feel like I'm looking very far away. Okay. So, longtime Zelda developer would like female actress for Link in live-action Zelda TV show. When casting roles for TV shows and films, a lot has to be considered, especially the show/film, or if the show.
Yep.
If the show/film is based on something that already exists, like a video game or book. That being said, if The Legend of Zelda was made into a TV show, who would play Link? If it was left up to Miyamoto, the creator of Legend of Zelda, Mario, and more, it would have been someone entirely new and quite possibly even someone who enjoys cosplaying as Link already. With Japanese TV drama and film, they always use the same actor, so I actually think we should have someone completely new, says Miyamoto. This is something I never imagined because Link is very different to how a Japanese person looks. At the Japanese expo I attended, there were so many people in cosplay who looked very good. They would be good. Tezuka, the man who helped Miyamoto create a number of best-selling games like Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros., believes that a female could play Link. This is just personally, it would be very fun and awesome if Link was played by a female actress. A boyish female actress. Historically, live-action adaptations of Peter Pan have typically featured a female actress playing the role of Peter Pan. Taking Link's design and stature into account, it's hard to say what would be best. Imagining Link played by a masculine male could feel weird, and a slighter framed male might work, but then Link's face might still be too masculine. An androgynous actor would be best, whether it is an actor or actress.
I like that this headline refers to Miyamoto as a longtime Zelda developer, and not like the guy who literally created the series.
Yeah.
He's just a long-time developer, you know.
He's worked on a few.
Yeah, he's been there for a while, you know.
Yeah. Right now he has what I believe is a completely fictional, made-up job title. Where creative fellow.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and I'm like that doesn't sound like something like he's the second highest up at Nintendo or something like that, but he's the creative fellow.
Yeah, they just gave him his own job title because they're like, well, because like as far as development goes, I remember reading in an interview he's not like very in the finer details of the games, but he like kind of oversees everything and like everything needs his like approval basically. Which is very hard to get apparently. There was an interview where one of the like head guys of the Splatoon dev team straight up said like, I've never been praised by Mr. Miyamoto.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Which is very funny, but yeah, anyways, it's obviously they can't like, you know, if he's just sort of an overseer, they have to give him a role, but like he's not like an executive or a business guy. He is a creative fellow, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like, because I know sometimes literal translations from Japan to English, like you have to translate it to make it something literal, like what it literally translates to, and then you have to match what it translates to an actual English phrase or whatever.
Localization, you might say.
Yeah. Which I a long time ago, before we had the podcast, I interviewed someone, Mike Drucker, who worked on a bunch of games like Skyward Sword. The biggest thing he probably did was give Groose the name Groose. He was the one that thought of that, so the Groose is loose meme is all thanks to him. So anyways, he mentioned whenever you would be walking down the hallway or like just entering the building or something, and Reggie or someone really important was there, like the whole he mentioned like you could feel their presence in the room, and everyone in the room was like, they would just act like 100% professional, because it's, you know, you don't want to make a bad impression if you make one at all. So, but he said like that everyone was really cool and stuff, but like there would be moments where Aonuma or someone, I guess, would just like come in the room to check things out or talk to whoever's in charge, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's the person that's like responsible for my childhood. Yeah.
Yep, that creative fellow, that longtime developer.
But anyways, the creative fellow and I guess the second most important person in charge of the Zelda series and Mario series, before Aonuma took over, they are completely for the idea of Link being portrayed by a female cosplayer. And I guess like if you don't, like if they would keep Link silent like a lot of people want, that would be good, because as long as they're okay with facial expressions and stuff. And I know sometimes like part of the cosplay competitions is there's like a routine that you can make up and do and stuff. So like some people just cosplay and like dress up and go around and stuff, but then some people like they'll go on stage and actually compete in like almost like a talent show, but it's just like a routine that they do that's like 30 seconds or a couple of minutes or something, to where they'll play out a scene or they'll do something. If you've ever watched the TV show Heroes of Cosplay, it always does that, to where they go around to all the different cosplay competitions. And so if it's someone that does that, to where they're already like acting on stage and in their costume and stuff, then I could see them like picking someone who isn't or hasn't ever really been an actor or an actress, just getting a female that kind of looks like they could be a girl or a guy, which is sort of how they've been making Link since Twilight Princess, because they tried to make him look the most mature and masculine in that game. And in Skyward Sword, and now specifically Breath of the Wild, they said that they tried to make him androgynous or whatever, to where like a female playing could see like relate their self to him as well. And then they even joked around about it during the interviews, where like someone asked if it was a girl on the horse with the Guardian, and Miyamoto was like, well, we never actually said that was Link or that was a guy or whatever.
I think that was Aonuma, not Miyamoto.
Yeah, Aonuma, sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's
long-time Zelda developer.
Yeah, another long-time Zelda developer since Ocarina of Time. But yeah, like they've been trying to make, obviously they want to keep him a male, but they want to make him to where it's like almost like anime characters, to where like you're playing Final Fantasy and you're just like, I don't know if that's a guy or a girl. And then a lot of times in anime, the guys will have female voice actors as well, like Dragon Ball Z, for instance. Goku is portrayed by like a 60 or a 70-year-old female that is still like doing all those crazy intense screams and everything. And I don't know, like for me specifically, I remember seeing the trailers when it first released for Final Fantasy 11. It was the one after 10 on the PlayStation 2 that wasn't the MMO. So I think it was 12, Final Fantasy 12. But the trailer for it, all of the guys, I was like, I don't know if those are guys or if those are girls. I don't know what's going on. Like, they all look really good. So, I don't know. But, yeah, like they all just looked like attractive, pretty female anime people. So I was just like, I don't know what's going on here. And apparently that's what they want to do with Link. And if there is a live action TV show or movie like they were talking about, I could see them going that way. But if it was left in charge of like a normal director or whatever, I would see them like just getting a male to play as Link. and not a female, but apparently if it was left in charge of the creators of the game, it would be a female. I don't know. I would like to see it just to see how it would be, like, because it could be really good or it could be really bad, and either way I would love to see it. But yeah.
I think for me, I think it's a really good idea because a lot of the time I've like read manga or watched anime where I'm like, oh my gosh, this character is so cute, and then they do a live action and the actor that they choose for that person is just absolutely terrible and disgusting, and I don't like anything anything about them. Fullmetal Alchemist is a really good example of this. They did the live action. No. Million times no. So I feel like I have probably seen a lot of very strong cosplayers that do a version of Link that I'm like, this is very convincing. It looks very true to how Link actually looks. So I feel like they're going in the right way. And if you can, for the most part, like if there's anything that I've noticed, especially because like the one time that I went to an event in cosplay, you turn into an entirely different person when you're in a costume. I very much embodied Waluigi while I was out there. It was very, very strange to say, but it was like, people would come up and they'd be like, hey, can I get a picture? And me, like, normally, like, I don't like having my picture taken, but because I'm dressed as Waluigi, I'm like, heck yeah, photos. And then I met other Waluigi, and it was, like, the best experience of my life, and we were just, like, totally in tune with who Waluigi was. Very strange. He did much better than I did a bit, but...
How often, if we were to have been with you at this convention, how often would we hear a wahaha?
Is that a Korok sound?
No, the sound.
I was like very confused because they didn't do that noise, but
no,
I got a lot of
the Waluigi's. Yeah, like the wah.
Yeah.
I did do a Korok sound, didn't I?
You did.
Okay.
No, I got. Like, I remember we were, like, making our way over to the Nintendo photo shoot, and it was just basically a big wah train, because we were all like, wah! Nice. The entire way. It was so funny.
I love it.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts, Daniel? Do you remember Orion's portrayal of Link?
He was good.
I really liked that one.
He also, he stayed silent.
He did not say a word.
Didn't say a word, but then it fits, honestly.
Yeah.
I do feel like... if you were going to make like a full Zelda movie, Link's got to talk. But either, like, I just feel like you got to go one way or the other with it, where it's like if you can make movies with no dialogue, and it can work. Like, and Nintendo's dabbled with it. If you watch like the Pikmin shorts, for example, there's no dialogue in those, and they tell very good stories which are very engaging and entertaining, but nobody talks, and they run with that idea. If just one character doesn't talk, it just feels janky, and
yeah,
I don't like it. But I do like the idea of going with a cosplayer for it, male or female, just because I love the idea of giving someone who is like a self-made person that's put in a lot of effort for this kind of thing to gain a following or something, and like the idea of giving the little guy the spotlight rather than hiring a ultra famous actor for it. I love that. I love that idea.
Tom Cruise is out.
Tom Cruise is out.
Okay.
He's definitely out.
So what if it was... He's not completely silent the entire thing, but for the past couple of days, I've been rewatching the Kevin Smith movies because they are filming the
Silent
new...
Bob.
Yeah.
That's like...
No. So he's silent through the whole thing and just communicates with expressions. But when he does speak, it's like really important to the plot or whatever.
Yeah, so he has like the like 3 important lines, and then but Jay talks enough for both of them.
Yeah. Well, like I'm thinking it could be something like that. So like he doesn't speak until it's like maybe an important character dies or something, or like I don't know. There's like Hylian soldiers or Gorons or whatever, and like they're scared or something, and like they're not wanting to go battle. So then Link stands up and like walks to the front and gives a speech on why they need to like have courage to go in and fight or whatever.
Courage. But the thing is, like with Silent Bob, it's also partially like played for laughs, right? Like these are comedies. So you can have something kind of janky and absurd, and it doesn't feel out of place because it's a comedy. Or if it is out of place, it's funny because it's a comedy, you know?
I just realized in the Jay and Silent Bob canon, he is a Jedi. Like, canon-wise, like, no, because in the movies, like, so at the end of Clerks, I think the first Clerks, like, he's trying to do stuff, but he can't, and, like, Jay, like, smacks him, tells him to stop or whatever, and in Mallrats, the one guy, like, kicks the thing, and it makes the tape come up to his hand when he's trying to use his mind tricks for that.
Right, so he thinks that it works.
And then, when he's actually, like, they're doing the Star Wars parody on Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, where he's, like, fighting against Mark Hamill dressed as, I can't say the name.
Yes, but these are not appropriate films, by the way, for all the young people watching this stream. Don't go out watching these. They're very, very crude movies.
Right. Cover your ears, people.
Okay, so if you're like a youngin', if you're not old enough to watch these R-rated movies that we're talking about.
Yeah. So it basically, when it gets close to the end, they're doing a Star Wars parody, and they have the guy who played Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, being the bad guy in the parody. So, like, they're all fighting with the lightsabers and stuff, but I guess they're more like bong sabers.
They're like big, yeah.
Yeah. Like, the energy comes from the top of the bong or whatever, and Mark Hamill, who at one point was probably the most famous and loved actor in the world, like right after the original trilogy released, is now doing a parody of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Where he portrays Cockknocker.
Yep.
And
amazing.
It's very funny.
In the fight, Silent Bob reaches his hand out and he makes one of the lightsabers come to him. And then in the other movies, like, there's little stuff that he does to where, like, he'll make things move or happen. And I'm like, every single time it happened before, I was just like, oh, well, it's a coincidence or something. But now I'm like, are they, like, is he really, like,
is it real?
In canon? Yeah, in canon, does he really have powers?
Kayla, don't look behind you.
There's a ghost. There's a ghost.
There's a ghost. Whatever you do,
blink,
don't look at it.
Blink twice if
I can
you
see
want
the
us to
reflection.
send
The ghost is taking a picture of you.
Yeah.
Oh, ghost!
He's kidnapping your dog.
Kayla.
The ghost took your puppy.
The ghost stole your dog.
Stop!
You did nothing. You just let him.
Oh man, I was watching a bunch of ghost stories earlier. It was spooky. For like 10 minutes, I was afraid to go take a shower because I thought if I closed the curtain, there would be a ghost on the other side.
Okay, so because that was really funny.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. I was like, that is my stepmom's brother, and he's taking the dog out for a walk.
Nice.
Okay, well, sure.
All right, I think we can go to the next story.
Yeah, I think we should discuss this article a lot and didn't get sidetracked at all talking about Kevin Smith movies.
No,
that was probably
Friends with
the
Friends.
That was the only time in the history of me streaming that someone has said, Kayla, there's someone behind you, and you guys were actually right.
Yeah. Alright, so for the past couple of weeks, we've been reading bad reviews and stuff. So this next segment coming up, they're not necessarily bad reviews because I couldn't, like, the internet didn't, like, I don't really think it was a big thing back at this time. Like, you probably have to be rich to have access to the internet, and there wasn't many gaming sites and stuff. And we don't have, like, old gaming magazines from the early 90s to research these reviews. So we're just doing retro reviews, I guess you could call them, from IGN and GameSpot, where they give their thoughts on Link's Awakening. So, because...
But these are we supposed to read...
Yeah, I'm gonna read through it because there's like no really bad reviews for Link's Awakening.
No,
because
even
at
though
the
there's
time,
some
like,
genuine criticisms of it, to be honest, but
yeah, like the trolls weren't.
Controls.
Yeah, the trolls weren't a big thing back then, like internet trolls, to where they're like, oh, this game sucks, it's black and white, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, it's on the Game Boy. Of course, it's gonna be black and white.
The screen's so small.
Yeah. So there's gonna be none of that.
It doesn't run in 4K at 60 frames per second, Jesse.
Yeah.
It's
So
garbage.
we originally I like looking up reviews from the time to see what people's thoughts on the game was when it released. That way, like,
Right.
you can kind of time travel to get someone's opinion. Because if you watch a review now, it's someone who's like used to PlayStation 4 and like high-end PC gaming and stuff, and then they're reviewing like a 20-year-old Zelda game. So with this, I like to just like go back to the time when it released and their thoughts on it back then. And these were the two closest that I could get. On the other ones, we tried going back and just reading the bad reviews, because all of the good reviews were just like 10 out of 10, good game, good
It's a
graphics,
Zelda.
good music. Yeah. So anyways, let's start.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Elia Rose. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like and comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the GameOverJesse channel, please consider purchasing a GameOverJesse t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJesse, and much, much more.